the architecture. Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing, proceed with me if you will, to a nirvana state where we have all of the architecture for the United States government appropriately mapped, right? That's on the test. Appropriately mapped, up-to-date mapping, and also integrated and understandable. And if it happens within my lifetime, I think we would be blessed. Now, the key is that the FAA is leading with the Department of Transportation for the department to make sure that we map. And we map on a routine basis. And it takes about a year to map the entire Department of Transportation. Because I only have 6 employees, and we only have 6 licenses with 6 laptops. But we do go out there and map, and we use some world-class cutting tools. So the Department of Transportation the last 10 years has been mapped about 6 times. So we have 6 baselines for the DOT. But your question to the point was, thank you, I'll call that person back in 5 minutes. One of the things that we have found is that those maps do change. They actually do change. So clearly, in the future, one of the things that I think General Alexander is going to do, especially with US Cybercom and others, is those kinds of conversations have been had. They absolutely have been had. And as we move into future systems, such as next generation of air traffic control and others, those are the things that are very important. We're blessed at the DOT that we've had senior executives and leadership that have valued the protective services that we offer.
And just very quickly, we've instituted a thing called cyber tracers within Energy, which allows us during a significant event to bring up our cyber incident response teams at all of our sites in a virtual collaborative environment and address the issue as a group and leverage all of their knowledge, and then they can go deploy the specific solution to their site. Yes, sir.
I kind of wanted to elaborate on the collaboration question that he had, specifically around you go to take a typical airport, you're going to have commercial organizations, all the airlines are going to have some kind of network architecture there, they're going to have physical infrastructure there, you're going to have an airport administrative authority there, you're going to have a lot of different organizations in that area that probably represent some of the geographic locations on your data visualization tools.
Absolutely.
How do you communicate or coordinate in a situation like that with other people? Or are you completely isolated from it?
No, absolutely not isolated. Having grown up my entire life on airports and in this industry since I was a child, and my father did it in World War II, thank goodness. One of the keys is that there's a culture within aviation of a clear understanding of areas of jurisdiction. We know who belongs to what. Air traffic control knows exactly what belongs to them. TSA knows what belongs to them. The airport administrations knows what belongs to them. We even pilots, as a former professional pilot, I know what belongs to me. My aircraft, if I'm in the left seat, I'm the god for that flight. And if I'm in the right seat, as a co-pilot, I talk to God. But I did that for many years. But one of the keys is that we all understand who has final authority of the ship, the pilot in command. We know who has final authority of the runways, air traffic control. We know who has the final authority over the airport administration, and we also know who has final authority to break any of those rules, and that would be the FAA administrator. Only he or she can offer the authority. Now, the captain can ask for it. Now, TSA can stop a lot of things other than runway environments. But we've grown and matured now out of sadness of the exigency of 9/11. We've grown and matured out of that, and now it's much more harmonious. When I started in 1982 out of school in 81 for air traffic, it was very clear, especially in a post-strike environment, August 3rd, 1981, it was very clear that everybody was working together. And we lost that esprit de corps, if you will. We lost it throughout the 80s and the 90s, and then what happened? 9/11 occurred, and we gained that esprit de corps. Sadly, it takes these major national emergencies to gain that. But clearly now, with TSA, with the opportunity to have these joint ventures, there's joint task force. So, for example, when we had these horrible Katrina disaster, and that airport was completely devastated, we had multiple agencies, FEMA, others. We had all kinds of organizations coming. Maybe some of you were sitting in this room. These patriots came together to get these airport services up and running. It's not just about getting the flights in and out, but there were key emergency pieces of technology and hardware and reconstruction that needed to get in. Similar to port authorities. I don't know if you all know this, but the Federal Aviation Administration only operates one airport in the country, and that's Dulles. All the others are operated by airport and port authorities. Port of New York, LaGuardia, and Kennedy are all operated by the Port Authority. So those are the types of things that we all know who works together. They do a very, very good job until you read it in the paper, see it on the evening television that something went afoul. But for example, about 2.5 months ago, when a pilot sadly had a heart attack and collapsed at the controls, single pilot, we had multiple agencies, a couple air traffic controllers called in some pilots from the field. Everybody got together and talked this person down in a King Air 100, which I've flown. That's not that's not an easy aircraft to fly. We've never flown an aircraft before. But those are the kinds of ways that we can save lives and work together. But collaboration is the key. The coalition forces, if you will, from these different agencies. We can't do this together. A quick 30-second spot. One of the things that's very important is within cybersecurity, not one organization such as Cybersecurity Management Center, DOT, NNSA, not one organization within government is going to make this happen. These bad people, bad countries, and bad organizations are ruthless, and they share information all the time. And they work in collaboration and coalition forces. They're sharing information, and they're very effective at what they do. These are very, very nasty people, and they want to destroy not only our networks, but our very way of life. So if we don't decide that we, as the good people and the good agencies and the allies of not only the United States, but of the world, work together towards thwarting these horrible people, then they may gain the upper hand. Hopefully that answers your question. Yes, ma'am?
I have a question concerning the architect interaction with your teams. When you're doing the emerging technologies and the FOAKs,
Right.
and any other innovative thinking that you're doing, is the architect at the table, or is it a progression to bring you in later? I'm just trying to get a feel for how he's in your governance structure.
If you went back with me to the early 80s, late 80s, early 90s, we would say architect who?
Right.
Architect what? We don't need an architect. Actually, for the last at least 6 years at FAA, and I can only speak, my entire career's been with the FAA. I will probably die with the FAA, and proudly so. But one of the things I want to offer is for about the last 6 years, under Colonel Brown's authority administration, he is visionary, and he has always, and I always have for the last 6 years, have an architect. I have 3, base 10, right? 3 architects on staff. 1 senior, 1 middle, and 1 entry level. But these men and women are at the table all the time. Bob mentioned the bonus 6 thinking hats, right? So we utilize my facility all the time. So we green hat and we bring in the security analysts and architects. I'm very good at what I do, but I'm not a security architect. I play one on TV. But I do hire some very effective security architects, and it's amazing when you get the users in the room of the system. You get the stakeholders, you get the senior executives, or usually their deputies, and you bring in somebody like a couple security architects, and you get them in a room, and you just keep pushing food under the floor, and a couple potty breaks. It's amazing what they will come out. They will come out with something that really, out of the basic formation of the security architecture, will actually work. Rather than doing it the way we used to do it at Team FAA about 25 years ago, where we would just write the requirements, throw it off to a vendor, they would write it to our specification, and we would spend a whole bunch of money to fix it because it wouldn't offer and work for example, like the advanced automation system. Great ideas, but we never got the security architecture. And what does the security architecture bring to the table in the beginning? Cybersecurity. Why? Because I write their salary checks, right? So they know going in that we're going to try to get at the entry level, the actual security architecture, because that's why it says security, we're going to get that in there. But we're always at FAA, I can speak for Team FAA and for the department, we have the security architects at the table all the time. We're getting better and better at it now.
So the follow-on to it is, has the enterprise architect division or person impacted your decision-making?
Absolutely, absolutely. There is, by the way, I have security architects in my division. I have 106 employees, so I'm blessed I have 3. There is an entire enterprise architecture team, and there is a division that's all they do. They mostly focus on this gentleman's previous concept of trying to connect the dots within the big enterprise picture. I'm coming in, I swoop in a flash and dash and go, hey, whoa, cybersecurity, got to get that architecture in there, got to make sure it's here at the big, okay, thanks, here's the check. I write for the boss, and then I leave. So there's tremendous value in doing it at the beginning. It would be truly foolish in this day and age, we're in the middle of 2010, to actually not involve the security architects in the enterprise